Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Play Wind Waker HD. We have just finished solving all of the Ritos problems like we usually do. We finished up Dragon Roost Cavern and solved Valu's tail problem. He no longer has a big fire bug monster thing tormenting him anymore. Pretty much a win-win for everybody involved, and we're almost ready to go. Before we left off last time, we were told by Valu that we need to use the Wind God's Wind. A little bit of a cryptic hint, but Nedley has suggested that he might have been talking about this shrine out back here, which we are going to check out now. There's also one other thing we want to do that, unlike this, is not story relevant, but it is something that I want to do now because it's actually the easiest time to do it, and we can get some rewards for it later. So we've got this thing out here that we want to check. Very obvious directions, matching patterns we found before. I think we know what we're going to do with this. So there appear to be markings that indicate specific directions. Of course, if you didn't get the hint, pull out our Wind Waker. And we learned the Wind's Requiem. Yep, that same process of learning songs as in every other Zelda game. We just mimic the pattern and we learn the song for future use. Whoa, and the wind blows. So we have this weird frog guy in a cloud who comments that it's a nice breeze. Oh, hello. I like the little jump that he does. So this is Zephos, god of winds. I don't think he ever appears in this game after this cutscene, like maybe once at most. So it's kind of a weird little character introduction here. So he notices that we are the new Wind Waker. Not only is it the baton, but it's also a title apparently. For a beginner, you've got a nice wind sense about you. I guess so. So that tune gives us control over the direction the wind blows. Depending on how it's used, wind can be a good thing or a very bad thing. And then you should see his brother, huh? His miffed about his monument being broken. I mean, I guess I can understand, but probably better things to do to fix that than creating cyclones to torment people. So if you encounter any cyclones to see, chastise my brother. All right, I'll be sure to yell at him sternly while pointing a finger at him. So off he goes. And like I said, I'm not entirely sure if we ever see Zephos ever again. So, well, hope you enjoyed him. But now we have the Wind's Requiem, and as he mentioned, it will let us change the direction of the winds. Again, this is important for all of maybe an hour. We're actually about to make that almost completely obsolete. There are a few isolated cases with some items later on where you will need to manually change the wind direction, so it never becomes completely obsolete. Also, I don't know why I'm going the long way. We have a shortcut here. So it never becomes completely obsolete, but most of its main uses are pretty much solved with the HD version of this game. We'll get to that in a bit. So you may notice that instead of leaving, I am in fact climbing back up towards the town village area here. That is because we're actually going to go back to the entrance to Dragon Roost Cavern real quick. And that is because we are actually going to get the 40 joy pendants that we need here right now, in fact. So we picked up the grappling hook in this dungeon and, you know, we used it to swing around, and that's pretty much its main use, but it also has another use. If we attack an enemy with it, as you can see, it'll basically steal their collectible, and it's like 100% success rate. So basically what we can do to get these joy pendants is just steal it from these two guys, walk back out, then turn around and walk right back in, and you may see where I'm going with this as we head back into this room here. We can simply target them again and grab two more, and now we're on our way. So this is a very quick and easy way with some very convenient enemies here, just placed right in the entrance. I wonder if they thought of this, and that's why they put those enemies there, other than just like, this is an introduction room to the dungeon, you know? I wonder if they intended like, hey, you know, you could get those joy pendants really quick if you just do this. So we're gonna be just doing this over and over. It doesn't take too long. I have definitely spent much more time grinding for things in other games. Legend of Dragoon. So we'll get to 40 and then I'll meet you after we're done. All right, so as you can see, we are now up to 40 joy pendants. No need to collect any more. It's not entirely necessary to get them all right now, obviously. We will find more throughout our adventures, but that's pretty much just the quickest way to get it out of the way and don't have to worry about it ever again. So it would seem Ganon sent those monsters to this place. So we must depart for the place where the next pearl sleeps. We sail to the south. Very general, but okay, fair enough. So I'm guessing his suspicion is that Ganon may also be going after these pearl things. Oh yeah, and also you notice you can't still get in the boat. He won't let me leave, so you can't actually leave until you set the wind to the south. So we're gonna play our Wind's Requiem here. I'm gonna have trouble saying Requiem a lot in this game probably. So we conduct that and we will get a chance to change our direction via the compass in the bottom left. This is actually less wieldy, I think, than the GameCube version was. Because in the GameCube version, if you're like pointing north, for example, you could just hold the control stick down and it would go to the south. But here you have to actually move it left or right one at a time, and it makes it take longer. I don't know why they changed that. It was always really nice because you could play the Wind's Requiem, hold the control stick in the direction you wanted, and just like mash A while it's going. And then you would change the wind instantly. I feel like it takes longer now. So, all right, to the south. I guess that's where we'll go. Let's set sail. So normally when we get to sailing places, and if it takes a long time, we could also look at the map right now, but I guess we can't because we're in a scene. But normally during those sections, I will be cutting stuff out. But as you can see, stuff is gonna kind of happen along the way, so we'll just leave it in for now at least. So there's this weird talking fish man. Don't know where you got your mitts on that sea chart you got there, but it looks like it's pretty much got nothing but seas drawn on it, pretty much. It's pathetic. Oh man. If you're trying to be nice, don't insult my sea chart, man. Alright, so this guy's gonna teach us what he knows about the island. We'll open up our sea chart. And he comes back up with a nice brush there, jumps towards us. As you can see, he'll fill out our map square. So this is basically the method by which we will be uncovering the map of this game. Unfortunately, it's manual and not like you just sail into the area and immediately your map updates, which kind of makes a little more sense, but this is the way they chose to do it. So he's also going to give us a little tip. There's a peculiar cave towards the backside of Dragon Roost Island. Alright, so he's going to send word to all of his brethren living near all the islands. If you see a fish leaping out of the water, sail up to it, spread bait on the water surface, and yes, that's basically why we bought the bait earlier. It'll let us get the chart along with any info, and we're definitely going to need a reliable sea chart. It's pretty helpful, especially if you don't know where all of the treasure chart treasures are, because as you could see when we opened it up before in an earlier episode, you don't get a lot of info. So apparently this guy's repaid his debt. I don't know, they got something going on there. Before we do this, though, I'm actually going to head back towards the island a little bit, because if I'm not mistaken, yeah, you can also see our destination is going to be down here to the south, so it's a little bit of a sail. I think one of our treasure charts, 39 here, is actually going to be on Windfall Island here. So if we zoom in, you can kind of see, I can't really get a better view than that, but you can sort of see that it sort of matches the geography there. If you look on the very top, basically, you know, there's those two dots on the north side of the island, so it's going to be just after that. So unfortunately, we're going to have to set the wind back to the correct direction. And this was one of the major gripes that people had with the original game, is that every time you wanted to sail somewhere, you'd have to change the wind and all that stuff, and it would take a while for all those cutscenes to go through. So we're going to head back to the north here a little bit. If you're wondering why I didn't just do this at the beginning, I believe he yells at you if you try to go in any other direction, and also, like, you can't get in the boat unless you're going, the wind's pointing to the south, I think. So... Oh, hello. I guess you do come back here. I was looking for you that one time. I couldn't find you back here. All right, so as you can see, there's this ring of light with a nice column of light pointing out of it, so that's going to be the location of our treasure chart. You can see it does disappear, though, so if you want to get the exact location, that's not what I wanted, you kind of have to use the map in the bottom left, so you can see we're a little bit, that's not quite what I wanted to do. Hop out of the, oh man, there's a, there's a bird trying to attack me. Do I have any recompense here? I don't think I have anything to attack this bird with. Immediately. So I may have to... Okay, well, he's gonna leave me alone. That's good. That's weird. I don't think that guy's ever attacked me before. All right, so let's get our bearings here. Let's make sure we're still on track. Yep, it's a little bit to the left. You can also hear the noise. I might have overshot it. No, I'm pretty much on it. Switch sides here and salvage. And then we'll use our grappling hook in the boat to do this. So we salvage the treasure from the depths of the ocean. And And we get a silver rupee worth a whopping 200 rupees. All right, I'll take it. So now our wallet is very close to full again. So we're ready to go. We're not going to go straight to the destination. We are going to keep heading in that direction for now. But we will actually be stopping one to the north. And now that the bait with the fishmen have opened up, if we want to, we could stop by all of the islands on the way and pick up the treasure charts. I'm trying to be a little bit efficient about this. For those of you who don't know, I actually have a spreadsheet mapping out the entire game, literally from start to finish, 100%, every heart piece, treasure chart, all of that stuff, sea charts, so all of that's mapped out. And whenever I was mapping that out, basically what I tried to do was not deal with that stuff until I actually need to do something in that square. So squares that I'm just passing through, I can just go on through and not have to worry about it. And then, you know, because we'll have to get a piece of heart or a treasure or something on basically every island in the game. So once we do that, that's when I'll be taking care of the fishmen. We can do this rupee game here. I don't need too many rupees, but I guess we can do it as something to pass the time along the way. So yeah, I'm not gonna stop by. If I wanted to, I could. You see, there's the fish in the distance there. I could get that chart, but we will be coming back to this island later, and I'll just grab the chart then, and that will keep things moving along. You know, we'll keep sailing. Unfortunately, our map will not be filled out like as quickly as possible, but it will be filled out completely by the end, and that's really what matters. So as you could probably have told by that map before, we've got quite a bit of sailing along the way. Like I said, I am going to stop one north of our destination, but it's going to take a little while to get there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut ahead, and see, our rupees are maxed, so I don't care about these rupee games at all anymore. So I'm going to go cut ahead to once we get there, and I'll meet you there. You'll also notice we're not quite there yet, but time is passing. This is a thing that happens while you're out on the Great Sea, and it's now turning this nice yellow shade of dusk, and now it's storming, of course. Couldn't be pretty weather on the way out here. We've also got these little cyclones going around all over the place. Don't worry about them. They won't do anything other than if you hit them, they'll like lift up your boat, and you may get flung in slightly the wrong direction, but it doesn't do any damage, so I pretty much just ignore them and only deal with them if absolutely necessary. Alright, so we've arrived roughly at the first island we're going to stop at. We're not actually stopping at the island itself. There's nothing we can do there, but since we do have some other business in the area, I'm going to go ahead and grab the fish, just, you know, because we're here and it's something to do. We're actually going to be heading out, so you may see a little submarine out there. That's actually where we're going to head while we're here. However, first things first, let's go ahead and if we just sail up to this fish here, eventually our camera will change. It'll become targetable, but that's not important. So we need to access our bait bag here. I'll put it over Y so I don't accidentally use that ferry. And we'll just kind of spread it whenever he gets close. Thankfully, you don't have to be accurate with that and waste bait. That would be really annoying. So the fishman's going to come up out of the water. So we open up our sea chart for him. Oh, look at that. It's an interesting shape. And he's going to tell us a little tip. You know, to come sail these seas on nights when the right half of the moon is missing. That's a little bit vague, but there's actually nothing we could do with that right now anyway, even if we wanted. So unfortunately, he won't tell us again unless we spread bait on the water again, which is a little bit annoying, but you know, I guess that's what happens. So let's see if we can. We don't have to have the wind pointing exactly in our direction. We can sort of fudge it a little bit here and just go to the side. Because like I said, we're going to be looking for this submarine out here. So that's where we're going to be heading first. You also notice there's a tower out there. There's all kinds of little things like this sort of dotted around each of the islands. Some of these towers you can climb and defeat the enemies inside them for, you know, treasures. Oftentimes like joy pendants and stuff, but sometimes rupees. I guess I don't really need to deal with. He's not a very good lookout. Like I'm standing right here, man. You should probably sound the alarm or something, but I guess we'll just head on over to the submarine here. Hop out. Not much of a submarine either. Also, there's this big hole. I don't know. I guess they could close that if they were to go underwater, but... So if we go in here, this is one of the optional areas. Also, that plate is spinning on the table. I'm not sure why. I guess something must have bumped it before I came in. So we've got some enemies here. Essentially, if you can't guess what's going on, we just need to defeat them all. And we'll essentially just spam sword slashes to do it. This guy's still alive, apparently. Not anymore. We have one of the big guys. And he's done for. I think we only need to kill those moblin guys. Yep. And the treasure chest will appear. Now, you may notice, actually, if we swing back around here, this rat is actually carrying away one of the joy pendants. That's the thing that the rats will do from time to time, is that they will pick up stuff that's lying on the ground, like any rupees that are dropped and all of that, and they'll run away with them. It's not important to take care of the rats. As long as you're quick enough, you can get whatever drops. So if we open the treasure chest here, we'll find that we actually pick up our second bottle. Look at that, just randomly out in the middle of nowhere, we get the second out of 4. So we're already halfway done with those, which is interesting. But there we go. So that's basically all we came here for. Our wallet's maxed out. This is no use smashing pots or anything, killing any more enemies. Let's just leave. So it's probably worth stopping by because that is definitely on the way. And very easy to get. You know, it's definitely worth stopping by now to go ahead and get that second bottle. And, you know, you never know when you'll need it. And there might be something else that you want to pick up along the way. So this is one of those towers. You can see there's a ladder there. Again, if you want to climb it and defeat all the enemies, you can do that. They'll shoot cannons at you, but they are wildly inaccurate. You almost never have to worry about them at all. That one just shot straight. There it goes. Like that was way off. So... yeah. Otherwise, just kind of set dressing if you're not really dealing with all that stuff. I don't need more rupees, all right? So, as you can see, plenty of opportunities to get rupees if you're needing them. Now, we spent basically like half of our wallet on that bait, and just getting one treasure chest almost put us all the way back up. Alright, so it looks like we've arrived at our destination. Looks like a couple of islands here. The one on the right looks a little bit more sinister. So this is the Forest Haven. I don't know, just a great tree. That's still interesting. I wouldn't I wouldn't mark it down so much with saying, oh, it looks like it's just a tree, but... so apparently the great Deku tree is here. Deku? I don't know. I've heard both so many times since I've played like Ocarina of Time, for example. So I'll probably switch between the pronunciations. Let's not get into that again. So Ganon's vile hand may have already reached this most sacred of sanctuaries. Go forth with caution. Will do. Hey, look, this mailbox is awfully excited. That's not what I meant to do. What's up, man? All right, so good evening. Letters for Link. We have one letter. All right. Spit it, literally spit it out at us. To my son's superior. Thank you very much for looking after my boy. This isn't much, but I hope you'll accept it all the same. I politely request your continued kindness. So if you don't know who the heck Baito is, this is actually the guy that was manning the post office area that we sorted letters for back on Dragon Roost Island. We also get a piece of heart. This is the 4th piece, completing a heart container. And we're now up to 5. Sweet. So that's finally our reward for doing all of that letter sorting earlier. Cool. So if we want, you may notice if we look at our map, we don't have any information about this place, so we do need to find a fish. I don't know if our boat will actually let us back on right now. It's not worth it. We're going to be leaving this place soon anyway, so we'll just get it on the way out. However, we now need to just climb and see what's up with this Forest Haven, see if we can find the great Deku tree. That'd be neat. So before we advance too much further, don't go too quickly. We've got one of these guys. These guys are pretty easy. One combo like that will take them out very simply. Unless you run into them, that is. Yeah, the elevation can make it a little weird. Let's go ahead and pop this thing, because they do have a collectible that drops, and I could not get it before it fell into the water. Here we go, here's one. I don't need the stick. Alright, so this is the Boko Baba seed. Off the top of my head, I honestly don't even remember what these are used for. Everything's used to make something. But, yeah, this is the source of the evil plant's magic. So maybe you could use this to craft, like, a magic potion. I don't know. It's not a big deal. I'll just be selling them at some point or just forgetting they're in my inventory at all. It's probably more likely. Alright, and we'll keep going. That's kind of satisfying, knocking them straight up and then doing that spin attack. You may also notice there's this weird looking thing out there. Looks like a kind of a vault door or something. It's actually open because it was on the ground and now it's opened up. That's something I'll mention later, but we're not going to be dealing with that too much. So before we actually try to swing across here, you may notice this thing has appeared. I don't think we're in range of it yet, so it's not going to shoot at us just yet. So let's go ahead and grapple across here. We may need to realign ourselves if necessary, and it is necessary. Just try not to get hit. That can be a little tricky, avoiding that while you're swinging. There we go. All right, so to deal with this thing, you may have guessed, just block. it'll go back. Thankfully, you don't need to angle it or anything either. It's really nice. Just if you block it, it will go back in their direction. So, very convenient, actually. All right, we'll grab that mine as well, I guess. Keep going down the rapids. If you do fall into this rushing water here, you will be sent all the way back to the beginning. So just a little bit of an incentive not to mess it up. You can do a little more grappling here. And swing across to the end. And this is shallow enough to stand in. If you were to go any further down, though, you would just be sent back and have to do all this again. Don't want that to happen. Alright, so this must be the Forest Haven on the inside here. I like all these little fairies, these bright particles or whatever. I guess these individually aren't fairies. They're just kind of bright particles of something floating around here. Makes for a pretty neat atmosphere. Can't climb up there for some reason. I thought we could, so let's climb up the waterfall instead. Oh, hey, look, it's a tree with the face. Could this be the Deku tree? Oh, you got a pimple or something there. Oh man, you got a lot of them. So he's very not happy with these proceedings. Makes sense. So in order to help him out, we'll just roll into him here. And apparently that's strong enough to knock all these things off. I mean, this is a giant tree. I can't imagine that would have much effect physically. I'm trying to do a spin attack there, but it just didn't work. So we'll wind it up, I guess. Yeah, otherwise, you know, you may take a few hits here, but it's not a big deal, especially if they drop hearts. And we also got some green chew jelly from that. It's the first we've seen of this. Inside green chew juice is a magical gelatinous essence. So this is essentially like the red jelly, except where red jelly is used to make red health potions, green jelly is used to make green magic potions, which we don't have any of yet. But oh yeah, that garb, you know, the pajamas. So this is actually another instance where he will be speaking in that weird Hylian language that I mentioned before with Velu. So that's why he looks confused here. He's asking, do we not understand the ancient Hylian tongue? We do, because we're the second time around. Also mentions the hero of time. So same Deku tree from Ocarina of Time? Maybe, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why he would confuse me with the hero of time. I'm wearing a completely different outfit, but so this is where he would, suddenly felt a longing for an age gone by, and the ancient tongue passed his lips, his tree bark lips, I guess. So this is the Deku tree, guardian spirit of the Forest Haven. My thanks for your aid in ridding me of those foul creatures. Yep, no problem. So he mentions the King of Red Lions. Seems like he's well known around these parts. Yep, straight to the point. All right, just hand it over and we're done. Yep, so seems to know what's up. He was always a wise old tree. So Ganon has returned. In that case, we must make haste. These are the Koroks. I assume supposed to be the analog to the Kokiris, but they look a little bit different. So these are the Koroks, the spirits of the forest. Koroks took on human forms when they came to live on the sea. They took these shapes. So I guess maybe they are the, whatever the opposite of ancestors, the successors, I guess, of the Kokiris. No, ceremony the Koroks hold but once every year. Man, what a coincidence, huh? So grant the pearl to you once the ceremony is complete. Nice and simple. I like that. Don't have to solve any problems. Just, I'll grant you the pearl once they've done their ritual. Brief delay. You know what? No problem. Take your time, man. Oh, something terrible. Of course something terrible has happened. So apparently something has happened to Makar. I fell into the Forbidden Woods. That can't be good. They're probably called forbidden for a reason, right? Yeah, I got it. So the Forbidden Woods are right beside the Hallowed Islands of Forest Haven. This is probably the more sinister island that we saw before. The whole region's a vile place, home to evil beasts. Seems they've taken Makar. Your presence here is no mistake. Yep. Okay, well, fine. You know, at least they ask me directly, right? Instead of the guy being like, oh no, we'll solve our own problems, and then we solve them anyway. At least this guy's like, hey, could you help us out? We'll help you in return. So it's not possible to enter those woods from the sea. Guess from your size you're heavier than my Korak children. Probably. Still may be able to solve this dilemma. You must use the item I shall bestow upon you and fly through the sky. Hey, that sounds good. A lot of effort just to make that leaf appear, huh? All right, you can't make it easy for me, huh? Okay, so we need to get the leaf. It is unfortunately way up there. I guess we can't move around in first person in this game. We can't really see it from here, but we need to do a little bit of climbing. You may notice this sequence of weird flower plant things. Obviously, we're going to be doing something with those. Everyone's peaceful, huh? For the stump-shaped houses, all right. Guess that works. Pretty common trend in this place, in this game, of, you know, places that were once peaceful suddenly becoming filled with monsters. So this flower's called a Baba Bud. We can stand in front of it and jump into it. And they have this peculiar habit of shooting you up into the air after you jump into them, so you can use them to jump up to hard-to-reach places. And, of course, we're going to be using it. So we got a little sequence here. This is pretty simple. Don't need to worry about it. We'll just point ourselves toward the next one, hold forward, and let momentum take care of the rest. Turn around here. And then we'll just move on up to this tree. And we're safe. Yep, I am pretty good, aren't I? Yep, so if we face the wrong direction, if we just don't tilt anything at all, we'll shoot straight up in the air and land back safely. So if you're not quite comfortable with where you're pointed or you're not sure where to go, we can just do that. So we got to do a little grappling here. Should be good. Yep. You don't have to be exact. As you can see, I was actually a little off to the side, but no big deal. So we'll just keep on chaining these jumps. Not too bad. All right, it looks like we've reached the Deku leaf. So to use it, plant your feet on the ground and use it to blow blasts of air. We can also jump in the air and use magic power to drift on currents of wind. All right, so this guy's gonna want us to fly over there with the Deku leaf if we can get our camera around. I think, yeah, he's down there. Nice arrow made out of grass there, pointing the way. However, we're actually going to take a slightly different path. That's going to be the way forward, basically, into the next dungeon. But we're going to ignore that for the time being and use our leaf to get out here. And if we fly up, we can use it at the top of the jump. And that'll let us get here. It's also another one. We can keep going. Not quite. Okay, I think we need to actually get to this branch here. I might have done it too. Okay, I made it just barely. And then if we can... I think I was too late on that. Yes, okay, so no big deal. We can actually just go back over here. We're going to be a little bit short on magic, as you can see. We now have a magic meter under our health bar, by the way. So that'll drain as we're using this. But one thing you can do is actually, if we just keep jumping into these, you notice it refills your magic meter each time you get in one. So that can be pretty helpful if you're low on magic in this section, at least. Alright, so let's try this again. Fall into this one. Good enough. Alright, made it again. That's always really close. Alright, so let's try this again. Alright, that should be good. And nice. Alright, so we made it onto this platform. Now we can go. There's actually a few different exits, but this is the one I was really looking for. You notice as we leave, it actually points you down to this treasure chest down there. So it's probably worth it. This is one of those occasions where it might be necessary to change the wind. Let's just make sure it's in the correct direction. This is basically the main reason we're going to be changing the wind. Yeah, so I also sort of use the direction Link is facing as a reference. I sort of point him in the direction I need to go and say, okay, that's basically south, so I think we're good. So yeah, that's going to be sort of the main reason that we change the wind, is in order to line stuff up for Deku Leaf jumps. Also, if you need magic, which you probably will, you can get some in this grass here. So let's jump off and start going. We're going to be taken with the wind, which is actually a little bit of a crosswind at this point. So we need to sort of straighten ourselves out by aiming slightly to the left. And there's this nice little shadow where we're going to land. And if you need to soften your fall, you can do that so you don't take any falling damage. And we can open the chest on this island. And it'll give us a treasure chart. So, yep, we'll be picking that up at some point. And we're good to go. All right, so we're actually going to be leaving Forest Haven for a little bit. If I can find where the boat is, that would be nice. However, I don't know that I'm going to be able to. So let's go ahead and point the wind in this direction just so I can not have to swim so far. As I mentioned before, if you stay in the water too long, you will just straight up drown and be sent back to the surface. So it's probably good to go ahead and get as much of a head start as I can here. Let's get some magic refills. All right, that's good. We're up to full. And go. So actually, we may be able to get onto this land over here. That may be what this is for. Nice. That's very nicely placed, isn't it? It's like they thought about it, huh? All right, so we can clear our path, and now I think we're just back on that main path. You see Beetle Shopship is here if you need to buy some more stuff. A little hard to climb with this thing here. Yep. Oh, well. He ran away, and then he came back out. All right, well. Not used to fighting from this angle. Did I knock that back with the sword slash? That's pretty cool. I don't think we can actually kill this guy from here. Oh, we can. All right, I thought the shots might go over. So we can just hop in and be sent back to the beginning if we want. Nope. Get the camera out of the water. And we'll just ignore him. So we're going to be leaving and actually heading back to Windfall Island at this point. Now that there's a couple more things that we can do with the Deku Leaf. And we'll also pick up some more stuff along the way once we're there. So that's cool. However, I think we're going to leave it off here for the time being. Next time we will head back to Windfall, as I said, and do some more side stuff, basically. We'll get to this dungeon soon enough, but a couple other things I want to do first, including one thing that will help speed up the game pretty tremendously, in fact. So definitely looking forward to that. Till then, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.